October 21st. Whew, I did it. I just made it back from the future, just in time for today, October 21st, 2015. Today is the date made popular in Robert Zemeckis' 1989 film, Back to the Future 2, starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. In the movie, Doc Brown and Marty travel to today, 26 years in their future, and we now get to see if their predictions for the future were accurate. Let's take a look.
You've got to come back with me. Where? Back to the future.
The movie starts with Doc Brown returning from the future and filling his car's Mr. Fusion with garbage for fuel. From 2002 to 2013, biofuels grew more than 500% in the U.S. as production of crop-derived ethanol and biodiesel became a mainstream substitute or supplement to gasoline in our cars. In 2013, the city of Edmonton, Canada recently became home to the world's first industrial-scale waste-to-biofuels facility, turning household garbage into biofuels. It converts 100 tons of household garbage into 38 million liters of ethanol per year. Any car can run on 10% ethanol, and 4 million cars on U.S. highways operate on 85%. There are currently 47 models of trucks, cars, SUVs that run on biodiesel, and the automotive industry predicts that consumers will have more than 62 biodiesel vehicle models to choose from in North America by 2017. Turning trash into fuel? Thank you, Doc Brown. The concept of flying cars has been around for a long time, and there are currently a number of major manufacturers, but 2 years ago something significant happened. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, approved the Terrafuga transition and classified it as a light sport aircraft. As a result, drivers will only need 20 hours of flight time to qualify for a license to fly it. The transition gets 30 miles per gallon on the road and has a flying range of 400 miles, and in the air can reach speeds of 115 miles per hour. But before you get too excited, you need a little price tag. $194,000, or as much as a Lamborghini. When Doc Brown looks at his watch and expresses an amazement about the accuracy of the weather prediction, most people are familiar with the weather prediction services and apps and other services that are providing weather news. But recently I was most impressed with AccuWeather, their app, which predicts weather by the minute with their innovative, proprietary, patented, and trademarked MinuteCast system. It's super impressive. Check it out. In 2011, Nike made 1,500 replica Back to the Future shoes to benefit the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, but they weren't self-tying. But in January of this year, 2015, at the Agenda Trade Show in Long Beach, California, Nike designer Tinker Hatfield said that they're working hard to release the Nike Mag with power lace technology. In fact, the designs are in Nike's U.S. patent. You can find it online, 8769844B2. So this looks like something we could be seeing soon. When Marty is on the modernized street of the future in his hometown, he is frightened by a 3D hologram. It was advertised in the movie Jaws 19. And while we can all be happy there weren't 18 sequel to Jaws, the release of Jaws 3D in 1983 might have been credited for this prediction. I think the developments in holographic technologies to be most fascinating. At Coachella, the festival in 2012, a hologram of Tupac Shakur appeared and fired up the crowd as he performed live with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The worldwide pop sensation from Japan, Hatsune Miku, who has opened for Lady Gaga and appeared on many late-night talk shows, she's a hologram. And advertising is already embracing this medium to catch the eyeballs and promote their products. And if you haven't already, you need to see Microsoft's HoloLens. Check out this demonstration and imagine the possibilities and potential.
You can see Darren has customized his space. Instead of digging through menus, everything is right where he wants it.
Yeah, whether it's Microsoft Edge, Photos, or video apps, these are simply universal Windows apps that we've placed as holograms. So, whether it's a slate on the wall or something a little bit more dimensional, like my loyal companion Fang here, hey buddy, you can customize your space the way you want it. Now I want to add something to my space, so I'm going to pull up my holographic start menu, and I'm going to open up Skype, I'm the worst at keeping in touch. So I'm going to take the people that matter most to me, and I'm going to pin them to this wall right here. That way, every time I walk into this room, I'll see their smiling faces and be inspired to reach out to them.
We are all creatures of habit, and we do different things in different spaces in our homes. This stage, as an example, is modeled after Darren's apartment.
Yeah, and this is where I'd hang out in my apartment and surround myself with the applications that I want to access or just check out. For example, I'm planning a trip to Hawaii in a couple weeks, so I placed this awesome weather app over here, so when I'm moving around, I can easily glance at it, reference it, and understand what the weather's going to be like when I get there, hopefully still hot. Then if I look up here on the wall, to my left, I've got a video player. I simply reach out, air tap, and I'm right in the action.
Now, what if Darren has things to do around the house? He shouldn't be confined to watching just on one wall. He should be able to take his entertainment with him anywhere and remain hands-free as he does it.
Yeah, so all I need to say is follow me. Now wherever I go in my house, my entertainment tags along. All right. And where it gets where I'm going, I simply place it, and I can scale it as big as I want. Now, that's not something just a video player does. Every single Universal Windows app has the same capabilities. For example, I placed a calendar over here because, as Alex will tell you, I'm late for pretty much every meeting. So this makes it, a guy like me, makes it a lot easier for me to just check in and see what I've got coming up next. We're discovering uses for holograms every day. We know with all you here at Build, putting your minds towards it, we're going to be discovering new uses every second.
And we're excited to be able to show a new version of Minecraft built specifically for Microsoft HoloLens.
Thank you, Lydia.
One of the cool things about HoloLens is that it lets you display Minecraft virtually anywhere. You can get different perspectives on your Minecraft world. It's awesome to play with the controller, but could we show them something new, Sax?
Sure. Let's take our experience off the wall and then put it on the table over here. Create world. I see Lydia way up there.
As I run around and play, Sax can easily navigate and manipulate the world using his voice and his hands. He can walk around the hologram, pan around for different viewpoints, and even look inside.
Let's follow Lydia around for a bit. Follow player. I can zoom in and out for a better perspective. Closer. Or all the way in. Close up. What are you up to, Lydia?
I'm hopping in a minecart.
People do. Let's take a ride down to the village. We're going to pick a different perspective. Overview.
It's incredibly cool to have Minecraft on your table. Imagine seeing your own worlds like this. Isn't it crazy that I see Sax just standing at the table, but through the HoloLens, he can see a whole Minecraft universe at his fingertips.
When Marty wanders into a nostalgic 80s bar, he's instantly drawn to the video games he's familiar with. However, the kids of the future are not. Wireless video games were first popular in 2006 with the release of the Nintendo Wii. However, Microsoft's Xbox Kinect took the world by storm and set the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest selling consumer electronics device ever, beating out the iPhone. Now, the Kinect enables advanced gesture recognition, facial recognition, and voice recognition. It's capable of simultaneously tracking up to 6 people, including 2 active players for motion analysis, with a feature extraction of 20 joints per player, and it can track your heart rate from 4 feet away.
Little girl, stop! Look, I need to borrow your hoverboard. Where is he? Here. There!
He's on a hoverboard! Push!
Give me push!
Now, of all the predictions in the movie Back to the Future 2, the flying hoverboard is the most well-known, and why not? In the late 1980s and early 90s, a brilliant but hyperactive young man possessing an IQ of 144 had just transformed skateboard into a respectable pastime, a professional sport, and became an idol to millions. But in March 2014, just last year, Tony Hawk had to give a face-saving apology for a prank which dashed the hopes of many who wanted flying hoverboards to be real.
Hey everyone, it's Tony Hawk here. I want to apologize for the hoverboard prank. I thought it would be obvious that it was fake, but a lot of people believed it, and I wanted to believe it as much as you did. But to me, it was just a fun opportunity to ride in a DeLorean with Doc and to actually ride on the stunt harness that they use in Back to the Future 2. And here's what it looked like in real life.
Run, action!
So I'm sorry for misleading anyone again, and I wish as much as you do that hoverboards were real, and I'm sure that one day they will be, but until then, we still need roads.
But good news. 17 months later, that dream was realized by the Lexus company, and flying skateboards are now real. Now, real, that is, if you can afford a liquid nitrogen-cooled superconductor and a custom magnetic surface. But the Lexus hoverboard is a prototype, and while not for sale, the project can be followed on Twitter using the official hashtags, hashtag Lexus Hover and hashtag AmazingInMotion. Now, viewers of the movie now wouldn't even notice the item in Terry's hand as he approaches Marty to raise money to preserve the city's clock tower as a historic monument. And 15 years later, it's hard to imagine being without a handheld device. Prior to the movie's release, the first mobile phone, the Dynatech, was created by Motorola engineer Martin Cooper. And that was 15 years earlier. But they were too big and cumbersome, and at $4,000, not something most people could afford. The first devices, called smartphones, were actually just personal digital assistants, or PDAs. And it was led by the IBM Simon in the mid-90s. But the explosion and the acceptance came with the super cool iPhone in 2007.
And we're going to do it again with the iPhone in 2007. We're very excited about this. And you know, there's an old Wayne Gretzky quote that I love. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been. And we've always tried to do that at Apple, since the very, very beginning. And we always will. So thank you very, very much for being a part of this.
And closely followed by the Android in 2008, with the handheld Apple iPad released in 2010.
Show it to you today for the first time. And we call it the iPad. So, let me show it to you now. This is what it looks like. I happen to have one right here. That's what it looks like. Very thin. Looks just like this.
Now this has nothing to do with technology and everything to do with timing here in October 2015. Now the Chicago Cubs baseball team has not won a championship for 107 years. They have by far the longest active championship drought in North American professional sports, and today, on October 21st, 2015, they're in the National League Championship Series. And I think they're looking to make Back to the Future 2 prophetic and maybe even reinforce the plot line involving Biff's sports gambling, which begs the question, why isn't FanDuel all over this? I mean, they're all over everything else in sports right now, right? Now, after Doc used a sleep-inducing alpha rhythm generator on Jennifer and sent her to sleep, police find her in an alley and take her home. They use her thumb to open a biometric lock to get into her house, and they leave her inside. Now, residential fingerprint locks weren't available until over a decade later, but biometric identification and security devices are accelerating rapidly and include not only fingerprints, but retinal scans, facial recognitions, and more. Now, this is an issue that is personally concerning to me. Specifically, where's this data being stored, who has access to it, and how is it used? Is it being shared? And this continues to be an important issue for privacy advocates.
Now at 5:30, a new program designed to track students using iris scanners backfired for the Polk County School District. The uproar from parents started when their kids came home and told them that somebody was scanning their eyes. Our Ryan Raish explains the mix-up.
I thought it was kind of creepy. It's kind of like Big Brother looking after your kids.
The intention was to give parents an added level of security. Instead, a new program rolled out by Polk County Schools triggered questions and outrage.
Stanley introduces...
It's called the Eye Swipe. This video on the company's website shows how the biometric screening system works. The district decided to try it out on a trial basis on about 17 buses at a few schools in the Haines City area.
Now, you might have missed it, but when Marty is out at night, there's a scene that shows a dog being walked by a drone. For years, this was laughed at, but as we all know, the proliferation of drones in all facets of society is pretty considerable. Now, any YouTube search for dog walking drone will prove Back to the Future made another successful prediction. And besides walking the dog, they're being used in many other ways, including government identification delivery in the United Emirates, pizza delivery by a restaurant called Francesco Pizzeria in Mumbai, India, and being explored by Domino's, and in other ways that may cause you concern.
Over the hill, see what we can see. Looks like we've got some lost and confused visitors over there. Let's take a closer look. No, I don't think I recognize any of those guys. Let's take them out.
This is the video that caught federal investigators' attention. Police say 18-year-old Austin Howard of Clinton, Connecticut is the mastermind behind this homemade gun-mounted drone. The video posted to YouTube gained more than 1.7 million views. One person writing, quote, "Strange and a scary thought for someone to be using a drone to carry a firing gun." Police say Hawat opened fire on his private property, and that's not illegal if done safely. Police have no evidence.
Now, multiple TV screens is certainly no big deal, but many displays on one screen is another accurate prediction we all take for granted now in 2015, especially if you're an NFL fan like I am and can simultaneously watch 8 football games at one time as part of the DirecTV's NFL Sunday tickets. Go Seahawks! Now, there's a dinner scene in the movie which is often pointed at to demonstrate the predicted explosion and intrusion of electronic devices into everyday life. And who could argue of this prediction? If you have kids and teenagers like I did, you get it. In fact, nomophobia, it's a technical term given for the fear of being out of contact with your mobile phone. And while it does not appear in the latest Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the 5th edition, which came out in 2013, it has been proposed as a specific phobia based on definitions for the next edition. Now, in the movie, there's a scene where Marty is seen on a teleconference arguing with Needles, his boss from work. Now, Needles is trying to convince Marty to join in on an illegal credit card scam. Marty was hesitant, but agreed to go along with it when Needles called him a chicken. Unfortunately, their boss, Mr. Fujitsu, was monitoring the call and fired Marty immediately after. Now, the first PC video conferencing named Pictel was introduced by IBM a couple years after the release of the movie. For those in education and old enough to remember, CU-See-Me was introduced to the public on April 26, 1993 as part of the National Science Foundation funded educational project called Global Schoolhouse. Now, however, 20 years later, this initiative isn't flourishing and is instead dead, forgotten, and non-existent, especially given all of our talk about globalization, collaboration, and 21st century skills. It's pretty disappointing because today in 2015, anybody can video conference. Skype was started in 2003, purchased by Microsoft in 2011, and now accounts for 40% of all international calls from workstations and mobile devices. As of a couple of years ago, there were an estimated 50 million concurrent users. And then 5 years ago, Apple released FaceTime with their iPhone 4. Today, a person can instantly video conference with anybody, anywhere, anytime. All right, so let's look at the scorecard and see what the creative and imaginative writers of the 3rd highest grossing movie of 1989, what do they predict? 14 predictions for items not in existence during the time the movie was released in 1989 that became true and are in existence today. Let's take a look. It's crazy how science fiction becomes science fact. Remember, fostering unbridled imagination and curiosity are critical components educating young people for the future. Everything created was imagined first. Einstein said it best when he said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Imagination shapes our reality. It shapes our future. And in our race to the top for science, engineering, and math, let's not forget the importance of a liberal arts education. Today, humanistic knowledge continues to provide the ideal foundation for exploring and understanding the human experience. Investigating a branch of philosophy might get you thinking about ethical questions. Learning another language might help you gain an appreciation for the similarities and differences in cultures. Contemplating a sculpture might make you think about how an artist's life affected her creative decisions. And reading a book from another region of the world might help you think about the meaning of democracy. Listening to a history course might help you better understand the past, while at the same time offer you a clearer picture of the future. Speaking of future, I have to get going. I have to track down Matthew Smith and Peter Whalen.